Okay, so it's the Las Vegas F1 2025 Grand Prix Media Day. Now, this is the media day everyone wants to know about. Of course, all eyes are on Ferrari drivers Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Smash a like on the video if you enjoy it. If you haven't hit the notification bell yet, please do that because it keeps you up to date with all the content as it comes out, and hype it if you feel like it. But yeah, media day. Now, I've been excited to hear how the drivers handle Las Vegas media day, because we all know, because of John Elkann's comments this week and the backlash against Ferrari. And if you've been living under a rock, John Elkann, owner and chairman of Ferrari, basically said the engineers doing a great job, the pit stop crew amazing, and the drivers should focus more on driving and talk less. Now, that was in reaction to the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Now, the pushback has been phenomenal. And what I would say, the support for Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc has been immense from the fans. I mean, the Elkann out movement started on all of the Ferrari posts when they were launching their new merch. There's been a huge support, and actually the main message from the fans and the F1 commentators is that John Elkann was completely out of touch with his F1 team. Now, there hasn't been an official word out from Ferrari while all this has gone on after John Elkann's comments. Honestly, it's been crickets. There's been no word from anybody. So today, being the media day for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, we knew all the comments were going to be questions, I should say, to Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc is, well, what have you got to say about John Elkann's comments effectively telling you guys to focus on driving and stop talking? And were these comments helpful? Should we get into it?
That's a really, really good question.
Yes, it is a good question, Lewis. Let's get into it. Now, what I've done is I've gone through all of their responses, through all of their media questions. Most of the questions were about, like I say, about their how they feel about the John Elkann comments. Now, they've obviously been schooled by brand Ferrari to say, this is what you need to say, don't say this. And what we're going to do is let's look. I've clipped together all of the responses from Charles Leclerc to say everything where he's mentioned John Elkann, right? Okay, so this is what Charles...
I mean, John knows me since many, many years. We know each other since many, many years, and we have a very good relationship, and we've always been very honest with ourselves and speak to each other on a very regularly. So obviously we spoke since then, and trying to understand. Obviously, John is a very ambitious person and wants the best for Ferrari, just like I do, and we're all trying to do our best in order to make sure that Ferrari is back on top. And that's John's priority, that is my priority, that is the priority of the whole team. And again, as I said, we speak regularly with John, and that's what we've done as well after Brazil. And really the message is that we need to do our absolute best in order to turn that situation around, but there's no hard feeling or whatsoever. No, again, I mean, John is very ambitious, and I think he wants the best, and that's the way he wanted to express it. But again, we've spoken, and that is the most important for me. Then, of course, everything that is around and the way the words are interpreted is not of my control, and I don't want to spend too much time on that.
First of all, I think we can all agree Charles Leclerc did a brilliant job of answering like a politician, right? He's been told, and I think it's quite clear what the message is to Charles. It's like, look, make sure that people don't think there's a problem. So the whole thing with Charles Leclerc is we speak all the time. Me and John have got a great relationship. You know, he spoke to the team. Let me also clarify what he was really saying. You know, John was basically just saying, we need to we all need to sort of improve. And it was just an absolute glossing over and really protecting John Elkann. Like, obviously, that's brand Ferrari. Would we expect anything different? Not really, because the other message, look, I'm not trying to like, deceive anybody. I've clipped all the stuff with John Elkann, because that's the only time he mentioned John Elkann's name. And you can tell he's nervous when he's having to talk about John Elkann. What Charles did do very well throughout the questions was he diverted back to the team are pulling together, the team have improved so much. It was very, very on brand, and you know what, he did a good job of doing that. But what he didn't say is a bit telling. Like, I'm sure what he wanted to turn around and say was, well, actually, why the hell was I included in John Elkann's comments? I've got 7 podiums out of this car, which, to be honest, is quite remarkable. But obviously none of that was ever going to happen. I also felt that they let Charles off the hook a little bit, because they never asked him, how did John respond? Or did you see all the support from your fans where the hashtag #ElkannOut was trending on Twitter? So they missed an opportunity there. So that's what Charles had to say. Now, here's the only footage of Lewis Hamilton mentioning John Elkann's name.
Improving, and I speak to John every week, so we have an amazing relationship, and the passion has not disappeared from our team. So
now, that's a very short clip, because it's the only time he actually name checks John Elkann. And what I found really weird about it was, did you notice the nervousness with Lewis Hamilton? The sort of the shuffling on his feet, the scratching of his neck, and what was the main comment he said? Me and John, we speak all the time, and it seems like the brand PR have said, make sure you tell everybody, Charles and Lewis, tell everybody that you speak to John all the time. And just look at his body language again. I found it a bit odd. This is Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion.
Improving, and
scratching his neck.
I speak to John every week, so we have an amazing relationship, and the passion has not disappeared from our team. So
he reminds me as if there's, do you know what, as if there's a guy in a black suit looking at him going, watching what he's saying. He sort of scratches his neck, he's wobbling his feet. We speak all the time, and you could tell it really threw him. So yeah, it's brand Ferrari in full effect. Did we get the explosive response, or even the drivers being completely silent? No, we didn't. But we did get the very firm message. And just to be clear what that message was, you might as well hear it from the horse's mouth.
I speak to John every week, so we have an amazing relationship, and
speak to each other on a very regularly. So we speak regularly with John, and that's what we've done as well after Brazil. Again, we've spoken, and that is the most important for me.
Like the driver said, we speak all the time. Nothing to see here. We've been speaking to John. And I think that's the message of, obviously, John saying they need to shut up. Like saying, no, well, we don't shut up when we talk to John. We can speak to John. So they've done a good job. They've protected John Elkann. They've protected brand Ferrari. What does it mean for this weekend? Will they be asked again? I think so. I'm not sure it's going to go away. But I have one really big question. Why has Fred Vasseur been silent?
That's a really, really good question.
Thank you, Lewis. It is a very good question. Fred Vasseur, aren't you supposed to be the buffer between senior management and your drivers? I saw Ted Kravitz talking about this earlier on some coverage. And he was basically saying, when John Todd was team principal at Ferrari through the glory years, he acted as a buffer between the drivers and senior management, and he did a good job of it. Now, I think Fred Vasseur has been absolutely silent throughout all of this, throughout all the scandal, all the backlash towards John Elkann. He never came out and said, let me clear this up. Let me speak on behalf of John and the drivers, which he could have done. He never did. And Fred has been super quiet, which I actually think he's done that because they've told him not to talk. Or he's either done it because, if you watch one of our earlier videos from when we followed this story, it's because it's Fred Vasseur's phone call after the Sao Paulo Grand Prix that actually was the trigger in John Elkann's mind for all of this, because John Elkann's just reacting to the conversation he's had with Fred Vasseur on the phone, and then he's come out and said, because he's angry about the report he's got from Fred, where Fred said the drivers might be their fault, why the result in Sao Paulo was so bad, which it definitely wasn't. But some people argue that maybe Fred was trying to, you know, cover his own ass. And then obviously John came out with those comments. But Fred has been so quiet. And I think I'm interested to see what happens when Fred gets in front of a camera, and to see, because he will be asked these questions as well. And let's see what his responses are like. And if his responses are anything along the lines of, I speak to John regularly, and that's the Ferrari message, I think I might laugh so hard that a little bit of wee might come out. But anyway, that's one thing I should say is, will you be watching my live stream tonight? I am doing a live watch along, so will you be watching tonight with me at 12:30?
That's a really, really good question.
Thank you, Lewis. Yes, it is a very good question, because tonight it all starts. Free practice 1 at 12:30 GMT. Live watch along, live timings, track and commentary. Please join me then. And then, of course, free practice 2 is what, 4 o'clock in the morning for me? Oh my gosh. Join me then as well. But there you go. Not the explosive Ferrari story we would have wanted maybe for Media Day. Hamilton and Leclerc handled it very well. The only thing I would say is it did feel at times that maybe there was a guy in a black suit stood off camera staring at them going, you better get this right, boys. But that's just pure speculation. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm going to see you later. Ta-ta.